Hello, welcome to today's lecture on Model 3, and we are doing the section C for today. And today the topic is handling unwholesome, deteriorated, and expired drugs. My name is Pam McBaquin, a lecturer from Flexens Health College. First of all, let's take a look at what an unwholesome medicine is. An unwholesome medicine is a medicine that is unhealthy and harmful to health. All right, so these medicines are not supposed to be dispensed in a pharmacy because it could cause a potential health hazard, and sometimes, if you're not careful, it can lead to the loss of life of the patient. Some of the simple ways of detecting that a product is unwholesome are: one, we check to see whether there has been a color change of the product. Okay, also whether there has been a change in smell of the product, whether there has been a change in taste of the product, or whether the physical appearance of the product has changed, whether the product has broken or the product itself is broken. Now, for these points that I've mentioned, let's take a closer look at what our role will be. Now, when it comes to the change in the color of the medicine, there are a lot of changes products will go through once they become unwholesome. If you look at the tablets below of vitamin C, okay, now it's supposed to be the orange color, but I can see it has faded to become a little bit whitish. And this tells us that the vitamin C that we have is unwholesome. Okay, so a change in color in most cases indicates there has been a chemical change, and this means that what we really see is not the actual product. When we give it to a client, this can be a problem. So in a pharmacy, assuming we see, or sometimes we don't see, the clients come back and say that they've seen that the tablets they bought, it seems to be a change in color. We return the product immediately because it could be unwholesome. Let's take note. It's possible for us to have an unwholesome product that has not expired. Like this vitamin C, okay, one was seen in my pharmacy. The expiry date is 2022. But the medicine had already started changing color, which means that it has become unwholesome. Later in our lecture, we will discuss certain factors that can let this happen. The second thing is change in smell of the medicine. Now, a change in smell of a medicine makes a product also unwholesome. Now, we are talking about the original smell of the product. Sometimes the product may now still start to smell very bad, which is a sign of decomposition. Okay, so since the change in smell is produced because of a change in the chemical substance, the medication will surely have different properties, leading to a different physiological change. So sometimes, I've said, this thing may not always be observed in the pharmacy. A patient may return a product because he thinks the product smells bad or the smell has changed. And once they report it to a pharmacy, we would have to investigate. If we have other stocks on our shelves, okay, we should remove it immediately and report to the Food and Drugs Authority. Another one could be a change in taste. Most medication for children are normally syrup. They are quite sweet. Okay, there are sometimes that I've tasted some syrups that are supposed to be sweet and they are very bitter. And this new taste may indicate there has been a new chemical substance or there has been something wrong with the product. Okay, so this change will let the product behave differently. And normally for children like this, they will never accept a product. We call it compliance. They are not going to comply with the therapy. Okay, so change in taste in the product can also denote that the product has become unwholesome. Another is a change in the physical appearance of the product. Some products may seem to be bloating, okay, and you can see that normally it's because there has been a lot of gas inside the product. There are sometimes too that you can see that and the white tablet will have a lot of dots on it, which are indication that mold, like a fungal, is growing on the product. And normally, an example of such most is when you buy normal kinky or something or banku, when you leave it, you can see that some fungal grow around it. I'll show you a picture very soon, and that's what we call a mold. So sometimes, because tablets are made up of starch, molds can also grow on it and destroy this tablet. Okay, so molds can also indicate that a product has become unwholesome. And this is why when tablets or other medicines fall to the ground, it is not advisable for us to pick them up. Okay, and sometimes we even pick them up and add that contaminated tablet back to the whole container packs, contaminating the whole product that we had. Okay, so as we said, this bread that is a moody bread. You can see the mold. This is fungal. Okay, and this one, if you eat, it can lead to food poisoning. So we are not supposed to eat this bread. Obviously, when you see this on a tablet, and you can see it as black spots on a tablet, we are supposed to report it immediately to the pharmacist for the product to be withdrawn from the shelf and also sometimes from the market. Especially products that we have in bottles. Okay, we can have the bottle that contains the product itself being broken. Okay, and if you're not careful, you can have glass particles that will be deposited in the medicine, and this can cause a lot of injuries. Okay, can cut the intestines and cause perforations, and this could be very fatal, and the patient will have to go through a surgery. So anytime a medicine falls down, especially a glass bottle, if not plastic, okay, the glass especially, and we are seeing the first one, the cap has cracked or the bottle has cracked, please, the medicine should be labeled unwholesome and withdrawn from the shelf immediately. If you have a bottle falling to the ground, please inspect it and see if there's any sign of a crack or it is broken. Okay, the medicine may be wholesome, but the particles or the glass might have entered the medicine. That could be very dangerous to the patient if you give it out. There are days that we can have the product itself breaking, okay, and in this case, the medicine is not in its original shape because of the product has broken. And normally, we'll be discussing this where we don't handle products well, or if you have pests and rodents in your pharmacy, they will be eating parts of the products, okay, and this makes the product unhealthy, unwholesome for human consumption. There are some tablets that if you see that the tablets are cracked, okay, the tablets have been broken into pieces, we don't give it. The tablets should be in one full piece and well coated. Okay, so anytime you see the product itself breaking, especially tablets that are coated, we don't give it to the patient. Later in other sections, I will explain why coated tablets, when you see they have been cracked, we are not supposed to do. If you do that, you may poison a patient. Let's look at some causes of this unwholesome product. The major cause is deterioration, okay? And deterioration means the degeneration in the condition of a drug or medicine. It also means worsening in the condition of a substance, drug, or a medicine, okay? The unwholesome condition of a product can have an effect on other products close by them if they are not removed from the shelf or from among the drugs in good condition. Okay, so an unwholesome medicine should be removed immediately before it affects other medicines. A moldy tablet can easily affect other tablets, making them to also deteriorate with time. Unwholesome or deteriorated products which have not reached the expiry date should be removed from the shelves. And I said it earlier that sometimes I can have a product that has not expired but has become unwholesome. Okay, so please let's take note of it. It's possible for you to have a product that has not expired. It's expiring in 2022, but the product is unwholesome. Now let's look at these factors into details. Now I can break the factor into three major big topics. That's the poor storage conditions of the medicine. Okay, and under poor storage, we have four main things that we are supposed to take a look at. That's exposing the medicine to direct sunlight, exposing the medicine to moisture or inappropriate temperature, or exposure to pests and rodents. Okay, then we have expired medicines and sometimes poor handling. Poor handling, sometimes you can see people sitting on the medicine or not holding it, or the medicine will fall on the ground. We pick it up on the shelf. Somebody may sit on it. Okay, so once we don't handle medicines well, it can also cause the medicine to deteriorate. Sometimes the product face itself. Okay, when somebody is buying the product, you can see that the whole jacket has been crumpled, and the patient may not want to buy such a product because an indication that the product has been mishandled. Now let's take a look at the poor storage condition and the expired drugs into details. Now, the first one is exposure to direct sunlight. Now, the direct sunlight we all know contains something we call the ultraviolet rays, UV lights. Now, this UV light is not in the type of lights we use in the pharmacy. Okay, the fluorescent tubes and the bulbs we use in our pharmacy will not destroy our medicines. What we are talking about is the direct sunlight. Okay, and it contains ultraviolet rays. Ultraviolet rays, and this can cause some products, okay, normally photosensitive products, to undergo chemical changes. Okay, the chemical changes normally is called a photochemical reaction. Okay, and once there's a photochemical reaction, this will lead to an aesthetic problem. Aesthetic talked about the hey, the appearance of the medicine, the way the medicine is supposed to be nice. Okay, we don't see it, and it may also affect its efficacy. Okay, the medicine may not work. Now, for medicines that are photosensitive, we can control them. Okay, by doing something we call photostabilization. And photostabilization is a simple word. It means that we are stabilizing the medicine so that in case accidentally it is exposed to light, it will not become unwholesome. And the first one is to use an amber colored glass. Okay, so normally this is what we call the brown bottles. The brown bottles or the amber colored glass is able to absorb the ultraviolet rays. Okay, so that these rays don't enter the medicine to destroy it. Or you can use an opaque container or the product jacket. Normally, when you buy medicine, you can see that there's a paper jacket, okay, which the medicine is placed inside. That paper jacket creates a dark environment, okay, and that protects the medicine from light. Or incorporating a dye, okay, to coat the active ingredient, and I'll be showing a picture very soon. Or keeping the medicines away from direct sunlight. So let me just explain how it does. So there are two parts of the diagram. The first one, you can see the ultraviolet rays shining on the active compound. And once the ultraviolet ray shines on the active compound, look at the red arrow going down. Okay, you can see degradation. That's the first one. Degradation, the product will be broken down. You can see the product can also have what's called alteration. Okay, it may be altered. The product may lose its activity. That's activity loss, and the product may become destabilized. Okay, so if you are looking at photostabilization, that's a green arrow. Okay, photostabilization means that either we are putting the product in an amber colored glass bottle, an opaque bottle, we are putting the product away, taking it away from light, or we are using a dye to protect the product. Okay, and that's going to be the strategy. Now let's look at these pictures. So this example of reglobin, you can see this color. This is what we call the amber colored bottle. So reglobin is protected because it contains a lot of vitamins and minerals, and these vitamins normally are photosensitive. So the manufacturer placed Veroglobin in an amber colored bottle. Not only that, Veroglobin too have gotten a paper jacket which is opaque, light cannot pass through. So this amber colored bottle is placed in the opaque paper carton. Even with that, we'll still say that you should keep the product away from sunlight. Now the next picture is showing you can see the coated tablets up there. Okay, and the coated tablets, you can see the picture beneath the coated tablet, like how it is. So the green one is the raw medicine, and the blue one you see is the protection over the raw medicine. So sometimes companies can also use tablet coatings to protect tablets that are photosensitive. The next one is exposure to moisture. Moisture basically means that there is water droplets in the air. Okay, so normally you see humidity. There's water in the air. Now this can cause some products to take up moisture, that is water, which can cause a swelling of the product. So normally we say that the product has flattened or air has passed on the product. Okay, what is really happening is not air, but it's the water content in the air that has affected the product. So the product will normally suck in a lot of water from the atmosphere, and this one will cause the product to break and become very, very soft. It disintegrates. Not only disintegrating, the product can also lose, okay, its potency, especially a medicine like aspirin. Once moisture is exposed to the tablet, okay, the active ingredient becomes less potent and it wouldn't work again. The third reason too is that an increase in moisture content can also encourage the growth of mold on tablets, the fungi. Okay, so normally we say that where there is water, there is life. Once the product is no more dry, okay, and it's moist now, then it means that molds can grow on. So in the pharmacy, we are supposed to make sure that products are always kept at a dry place. Now you can see the person that have opened the container with one tablet in his hand. You see the container lid is still open. One is still open, moisture will be entering. So normally we tell patients that if they are taking their medicine, once you take the tablet, you close the container before swallowing the medicine. You don't leave the container opened whilst you are still holding the tablet, because the air that is entering with a lot of moisture. Not only that, you can also have some medicines that the manufacturer have protected it. The first one you see in the green and yellow is called a blister pack. A blister pack. Blister packs automatically protects the medicine from moisture. Okay, from moisture. The second one is called an alu pack. Alu pack. Okay, that's an amino pack. Now, this type of packaging that you can see, normally a lot of antibiotics and medicine that are photosensitive are packed this way. Now, this pack protects the medicine from moisture and also protects it from light. Okay, so that's the alu pack, the shiny one you are seeing. The blister one, the green and yellow you are seeing, just protects the medicine from moisture, but not from light, because that package is transparent. So assuming that we have tablets, okay, or capsules like this that we have to be counting for patient, immediately we pour this estimated number of capsules on the machine he's using to count, called a tablet counting tray. Okay, once you pour the capsules on the tablet counting tray, you are supposed to close the main container immediately. Okay, because if you leave it open, air will enter and the medicines will become unwholesome. All right, so this person pouring the tablets onto the tablet counting tray or the capsule counting tray should close it immediately. After they've counted, you cannot put this medicine in paper because paper cannot protect it. So rather put the medicine in the plastic envelope, okay, or the zip envelopes. These envelopes have gotten a zip or a seal at the entrance where you can press it and it will seal. Then it doesn't allow air, okay, it doesn't allow air which will come with the moisture to enter the pack. So plastic envelopes normally are for loose. If you have the paper, as you can see on your right hand side, the paper ones normally are for blistered pack that I showed you. Okay, so you have a blister pack like this one, okay, either the one on the right or the left. You can put it in a paper. Okay, you can put it in a paper because the paper doesn't have any seal. But because those medicines are already protected, the medicines will also not be able to expose to moisture. The third point is temperature, and products can be made to undergo chemical changes when exposed to some high temperature, causing chemical reaction to take place and thereby producing a new chemical that may be harmful or not potent at all. Okay, so we are supposed to store every product at the appropriate temperature. You can pause the video. If you have any medicine around, you just check and see the temperature they've written on it. If the medicine is not stored at that particular temperature, the medicine will become unwholesome. Okay, so a temperature at 22 degrees or below also is able to retard the growth of many microbes, okay, or germs, specifically molds in products during the storage period specified. Okay, so for example, assuming that we have a product and the manufacturer says store at 22 degrees Celsius, and we don't store there, we encourage molds to grow. Okay, so some dosage forms can only be used if they have been refrigerated, okay, like suppositories and pastries. If you don't refrigerate it, they don't become hard and you can't insert it, okay. So it is important for us to always check the products and their readings before we use it. Now, there are common temperatures I want you to take note, okay. So medicine storage temperatures, one is when we say you should store something at room temperature. What does it mean? Storing something at room temperature means that the product should be stored between 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. 15 to 25 degrees Celsius. And that's why a lot of pharmacies have air conditioners, and air conditioners can provide these temperatures for us to make sure that the products remain wholesome. Or products can be stored at a cool temperature, and a cool temperature normally means between 8 to 15 degrees Celsius. 8 to 15 degrees Celsius. And this one, you can get it in a fridge because normally the air conditions we use can give us up to 16. Most of the things air conditioners I've seen in our pharmacy gives us up to 16 degrees Celsius. So when we want 8 to, let's say, 15, the product is going to be kept in a fridge. So when you say that keep a product in a cool temperature, you are putting it in the fridge, okay, not in the freezer, in the fridge, okay. Then when you ask the product to be refrigerated, it means that the temperature is going down again between 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. Between 2. So a lot of the fridges we have in our pharmacy, okay, may have a temperature range between 2 to 8 degrees Celsius. If you have a fridge, you can open it. It has gotten a regulator, and the regulator can be used to be changing the temperature. Then the last one is the freezing temperature. And when you are supposed to freeze a temperature, means that you are keeping at minus 10 to minus 25 degrees. And this one normally the product will become what we normally term as block, okay? And most medicines are not supposed to be frozen because it can destroy the medicine. So to keep refrigerated is different from keep frozen. Okay, let's take note of that. So example is this medicine. It's an injection for patient with diabetes called the Novo Rapid, okay, or the Flex Pen. And look at what I've circled. You see, before opening, you store in a refrigerator between 2 degrees Celsius to 8 degrees Celsius. So this manufacturer is very specific. Now this medicine is insulin. Okay, if you don't store it at a particular temperature, okay, to get destroyed, it's just like meat. Okay. Also, they've asked them that do not refrigerate. Please do not refrigerate. Does not mean it should not be kept in a fridge. Do not refrigerate means that once you keep the product, you are supposed to store below 25 degrees Celsius, but you should not freeze the product. Okay, so you should not turn it to block. Once it turns to block, the machine itself will not work. When you are trying to inject, it wouldn't work and can cause a lot of problems to the patient. The fourth one is exposure to pests and rodents. Now, products not kept away from rodents or other pests may be contaminated and must not be sold to consumers. Although they may not expire, they are unfit for human consumption. I know some of us, especially ants, okay, if ants is on your bread or on your sugar, a lot of us will dry it and will still take the medicine. If you can see a mouse has bitten a piece of your bread, you may cut the rest and eat. Okay. So let's be careful. In the pharmacy, once we see this organism, we should inform the owner of the pharmacy immediately so that we can fumigate the whole pharmacy because these pests and rodents can bring a lot of diseases, rabies and a lot of other diseases, okay, to our pharmacy. All right, so pests and rodents may feed on the package or the content itself and may lay their eggs or drop their feces onto the product. And this, when taken in, can cause a lot of harm to the patient. All right, so we should be very careful. And the last one we talk about is expiry drugs. Now, expired drugs are drugs that have reached a date set by their manufacturer, after which the product is considered unwholesome. Okay, so assuming the product has got an expiry date of August 2021, after August 2021, the product cannot be used. And deteriorated and expired drugs need to be removed first from the shelves. Okay, once you see, please, this is very important. Once you see any medicine is expired, immediately remove it from your shelf. And once we remove from the shelf, we put it in a carton and we write boldly on it, expired drugs do not sell. Okay, then we write the medicines you have taken and it is stored in a separate place away from the wholesome drugs so that it doesn't contaminate the rest of the drugs. Okay, so basically, this is what we want to learn today about unwholesome and deteriorated medicines. It's a very simple lecture. Okay, very simple lecture. And for today, we are resting. I'm not giving you any assignments now. God willing, after our lecture, possibly on Friday, we'll give you another assignment. Okay. So, in conclusion, we have said that when you have a drug, the factors that can affect this drug is the storage environment, and we have talked about four main factors in the storage environment. We've talked about exposure to direct sunlight. We have talked about exposure to inappropriate temperature, exposure to moisture, and pests and rodents. Okay. Then we said that the primary packaging, okay, whether you are putting the product in an amber colored bottle or in a jacket, or the way we are handling the product can destroy the product. Okay. The coating of the product can also protect. Okay, some products are coated red or green, and also they are in coats. Okay, so all these ones have gotten an effect on the medicine. Thank you very much for listening, and God willing, we'll continue the lecture again. Bye bye.